Welcome back everybody to the channel. Today we're talking about my 2026 reading goals. I've got 6 of them that I want to talk about with you guys, and the more I've thought about it the last couple weeks or so, I wanted to develop some reading goals that there's no way I can fail, if that makes any sense. So in a year's time when we check up on these reading goals, in theory, none of these are failable. They're just kind of themes to keep in mind as I go throughout the year and let you guys know what I'm reading, and of course I'll be reviewing for you guys as well. Everything I plan on reading. But the first thing I want to talk about is just the idea of reading better. So I saw this post someone made. They were saying you shouldn't necessarily tell yourself to read more and say, you know, read an hour a day or read 12 books in a year or 5 books a month, stuff like that. You should just, in general, just try to develop better reading habits. So I'm just going to read better. So every day, just reading a little bit, finding time here or there to pick away at a collected edition comic or a book like we were saying, and just develop better reading habits just in general. I have places all around my apartment, comfortable places to read. I also have one of those like treadmill walking pads, and I read on that quite often, but my plan is to do that even more in 2026. And so yeah, so in general, just reading better, developing better reading habits. The second point is reading variety. So every month in 2025, you guys know, I'd pick out a graphic novel, an omnibus, a deluxe edition, maybe a manga as well. Just reading a lot of variety. So I think that helps me kind of stay on top of my reading throughout the month. Just having a nice stack of variety, things that I can just pull off and start reading. And these are things that are really high up on my TBR. I've kind of found that having a variety, like a nice little stack of things I can pull from, has kind of helped me stay on top of my reading goals. So we're going to continue that into this year, but of course adding in a lot more actual books and maybe a little bit less manga. Not so much of a focus on manga in 2026, but you guys know we're reading a ton of collected edition comics, single issues all the time, and then we're going to be reading in mixing in some books as well. So look forward to some reviews on some books throughout the year. Kind of along those lines, I want to read some classic stuff. So in terms of books, I mean, we have here like, we have The Invisible Man, we have The Time Machine, books from when I was a kid, right? So I really loved reading Isaac Asimov when I was a kid. Some stuff that people say you have to read, and I just haven't got around to it. So I have half of Brave New World finished. Really fascinating book so far. And then other classics like we got Dracula here, Lord of the Flies. So really just going back and either reading books that I never got a chance to read that people always say you gotta read, or maybe reading some stuff that I've read when I was a kid and loved, but maybe I don't remember it as much as an adult. So I want to reread those things and try to find out if I still love them. Other picks, like we got, Godzilla here, and we also have The Man in the High Castle. So I think in general for books, I'm going to stay kind of in the realm of sci-fi, horror. I want to read some Stephen King as well. A lot of people would consider those like modern day classics. So yeah, just reading classics both in comics, but then also in books as well is going to be one of the goals of the year. One of the authors we're going to try to read a ton of stuff from is Ed Brubaker. You guys know that was one of my goals of 2025. So we have stuff like Velvet. We have stuff like The Dead Enders, a lot of the early Ed Brubaker stuff. The earliest Ed Brubaker I could find, his autobio. I think this is like his first published work. I could be wrong on that. But this is one that Ed Brubaker wrote, and he also did the drawings in it. So that's interesting. And then continuing to read some classics like his Criminal series where he teams up with Sean Phillips, of course. And then back there on the shelf, actually I can show you guys, on the shelf, I want to read, like I was saying, I want to finish Criminal. There's still a deluxe edition I haven't read yet. We have the Reckless series. I have 3 of those books that I haven't read yet either. Kill or Be Killed, and then The Fade Out is another high up one on my TBR. So a lot of Ed Brubaker stuff we still have to read in 2026. Kind of along those lines, a character I want to read more of is Daredevil. So there is some Daredevil by Brubaker that we have to read this year, but just in general, there's a ton of Daredevil stuff that I want to get to. So let me show you guys kind of what we're working with over on the Daredevil section. So we have over here, you guys can see, we have the Frank Miller stuff, then we have the Bendis stuff that I've already read, and then we have the Brubaker stuff. So I'm going to be reading this in January. We have the Mark Waid stuff, the double omnis, and we have the Charles Soule omnibus over there as well. So Daredevil is going to be a huge focus into this year. We got to pick up the Daredevil by Daredevil by Brubaker volume number 2. I also have the Chip Zdarsky omnibus that I'll be unboxing soon for the channel, and possibly rereading the Chip Zdarsky stuff as well. But yeah, Daredevil is definitely the character of the year. Gonna be trying to read a ton of Daredevil. And then finally, the last goal of the year is really just to get my library card. So I'm gonna make a video of it sometime in January. I've been living in this town for like a year now and I haven't got my library card yet. So that's on me, guys, but we're gonna be getting our library card and trying to, mix in some stuff from the library into our monthly readings. And yeah, that's gotta be one of my goals of the year. I read a ton of stuff through the library digitally, through the Hoopla app. If you guys haven't checked out Hoopla yet, you gotta check that out. You just plug in your library card. In this case, I'm using my wife's because I don't have one yet. But you plug in the library card and you can read a ton of digital comics online. Hoopla also has, real books. It's got audiobooks, got movies and everything like that, but mainly use it for comics. And I found it to be really, really helpful. A lot of the day and date stuff, stuff comes out day and date, same day as Wednesday at the comic book stores. They also come out on the library to read as well. So yeah, that's been a ton of fun. But what do you guys think? Those are my reading goals for the year. We're going to be getting a library card and trying to mix in some library readings. We're going to be reading some classic stuff, both classic in the literary sense, but then also in the comic book sense. Maybe it could be modern day classics as well, but just things that people say are the must read stuff. That's really what we're going to be focusing on this year. Daredevil as a character, we got to read a ton more Daredevil this year and I'm really excited about it. A character that's really just climbing up on my list of favorite characters of all time. So Daredevil is a huge focus this year. Brubaker is a big focus as far as comic book writers go. There's a ton of Brubaker stuff in my collection that I still haven't had a chance to read yet. And it's just been a joy going back and reading some Brubaker stuff. And number 5, reading variety. That one's kind of easy because you guys know I've been doing that already, but just having a nice stack of things I can pull from a variety of different formats, from a variety of different genres and themes and stuff like that. That'll help me in my reading goals. And then finally, last but not least, just reading better, right? So not necessarily reading more, but just developing healthier reading practices, getting into the groove, and yeah, just reading more in 2026. So hopefully these 6 goals give you guys an idea of what maybe you want your goals to be. I'd be curious to know what you guys have as goals down in the comments. While you're down there, like if you liked, subbed if you love, and I guess if you really, really liked it, you can hype the video. Those really help out, especially channels that are around this size. I guess hyping really helps out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one and read more comics.